Good evening and welcome back to the regular council meeting for July 17th. We are back with the taxi bylaw number 24-06, and there has been a correction made. Councillor Peterson.
Your Worship, I would move that council give first reading to bylaw number 24-06, being the taxi bylaw.
Thank you. Is there discussion on that first reading motion? Councillor Lang made.
Thank you, Worship. I just want to apologize to Director Pretzlaff. I misunderstood the red line versus a clean copy, and yeah, that was my error, not yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Then I'll call the question. All in favor? That motion is carried. Councillor Peterson.
I move that council give second reading to bylaw number 24-06, being the taxi bylaw.
Thank you. Any further discussion on second reading? Councillor Montgomery?
Yeah, thank you. I have an amendment actually to offer. So it's under section 4.9, 4.9C, and then, so it's 4.9C and then 4.10, where it says, has been charged with any offense under the Criminal Code of Canada. I think it should say listed in section 4.9A. So it should be restricted to the offenses that are listed in 4.9A, not just any offense under the criminal code. Any offense could include things like trespassing or I mean, there's any number of offenses that are contained under that I mean, if you assist a deserter, for instance, that's an offense. Unlawful assembly, engaging in a prize fight, causing a disturbance, disturbing a religious worship or certain meetings, trespassing at night, a person who is engaging in unlawful gambling. So anyways, I think just leaving it as broad as anything that's captured under the Criminal Code of Canada, and then making that person unable to do this job is a bit of an overreach. But I'm interested to hear if anyone has any reasons why that should stay the way it is. So my amendment would just be to add listed in section 4.9A after Criminal Code of Canada for both of those.
So that would be a fairly easy thing to do, to specify that it stays right with those ones that have been mentioned before.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Langmaid. So are we able to do that? Is that, are we able to make that amendment then?
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, if council would like to make that amendment, you can. Okay. If you want to give third reading again tonight, we just need a minute to give you a revised copy of the bylaw.
Thank you. Councillor Langmaid.
In regards to the amendment to add a reference to section 4.9A to section 5. Oh, shucks, I've lost my spot. But in regards to the amendment, my concern is that amendment would actually make 4.9B pointless. So we would have 4.9B saying, under the Criminal Code of Canada or the controlled or any successor legislation. So 4.9B doesn't outline this list. So if we add in a requirement that we must stick with 4.9A, then the amendment should also include the rescinding 4.9B. No? That's just how I'm reading it. So I think the amendment would cause continuity errors within the bylaw as presented.
Sorry, so like, am I misunderstanding here? Actually, should 4.9B actually say 4.9A instead of 4.7? Because there is no 4.7A, so I think that should be 4.9B itself.
That makes
or
sense.
4.9A, sorry. And sorry, I didn't you said that there's a, because I think 4.9B speaks to being convicted, and then 4.9C just speaks to being charged with those. And then 4.10 just speaks to being charged.
Sorry, you're saying C should also say convicted?
No, I'm saying, like, so I believe that, I think just picking up on what Councillor Langmaid said, I think 4.9B should say, there, at the very end of it, it says 4.7A. I think that should be 4.9A. And then in my changes, I'm just suggesting that we change 4.9C, just to add the words listed in section 4.9A after Criminal Code of Canada, and then section 4.10 as well, just after where it says Criminal Code of Canada, it should just say listed in section 4.9A, just to keep it specific to those ones.
Okay, thank you. Any comments on those?
Only that I'm just
Councillor Langmaid?
sorry, I spoke out of turn there. Just that I'm getting a little bit confused over the actual, because we've now amended the amendment that was proposed, and I'm getting confused procedurally on exactly where we're at and what's proposed.
No, so I'm not amending my amendment. No, my amendment is just to change 4.9C and 4.10, just to add the words listed in section 4.9A after Criminal Code of Canada. Just so that when we're talking about somebody being charged, you know, we should probably keep our focus to the ones listed in 4.9A, not just any charges under the Criminal Code of Canada.
Thank you. Councillor Peterson?
It would just make sense, Your Worship, in a friendly amendment to amend B, which is, I think, editorial, to say 4.9A,
I think that's a good idea.
and then
actually.
4.9A in section C and in 410 STEM. And if Councillor Montgomery would accept that as a friendly amendment, then it becomes one amendment in the section.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Montgomery?
Oh, sorry.
Jonathan, have you got those corrections?
I believe we have the amendment right now, so I think council, to start off with, would like to just have a friendly amendment just to make the editorial change in 4.9B, to change that to 4.9 instead of 4.7. And then list out, and I'm sorry, was it 410 to also include as listed in 4.9A? Yeah, so 4.9C. Sorry, yeah.
So do you need Councillor Montgomery to make that motion as for a friendly amendment? Or we just,
So the original motion was just to add the as listed in 4.9A.
okay,
Now, when it comes to the editorial change in 4.B, that was a typographical error. If council's okay with it, we can take that back and amend it, but if council would like, you can make that amendment yourself, amend the amendment to include that. That would be up to council to vote on that if you so choose.
all right. So we have an amendment. And do we need to vote on that then? I got confused the way Councillor Langmaid did for a minute there. All in favor? And opposed? Motion is carried. Yep. We have a motion for second reading to bylaw 24-06. All in favor? And that's carried. Councillor Peterson?
I'd move that council give unanimous consent to give third and final reading to bylaw 24-06. Sorry. I'm sorry, Your Worship.
So to pass here, we either have to take another recess to make this changes to put the text in front of you, or we just bring it back in September.
Any thoughts from administration as to?
Would be just probably another 5 or 10 minute recess if you want
Okay.
to conclude it tonight.
Sure. Councillor Peterson?
I'd move that we take a recess till 7:05.
Thank you. All in favor? And that motion is carried. We are in recess again.